Hello guys and girls, welcome back to another episode on the Falcon YouTube channel. Very excited for this episode today as it is the first meetup of the decade. Can't wait, so we're in London today. This is going to be one of our biggest meetups to date. Really excited to just engage with as many people as possible in the community. So many people have come. I just spoke to someone now who just literally took the night bus from Scotland. That is the level of commitment that people do to get themselves around the right people. And I think this is something that we need to leverage. Make sure that right now it's at that time where people are getting a bit demotivated with their new resolution goals. That's because the why is not big enough. So make sure that you're digging deep into that so you're taking as much momentum into January. Remember, if we can build momentum in January, it takes care of the rest. So today, really excited to show you a little bit behind the scenes and again, hear people's stories in person, see the impact that Falcon is making. Guys and girls, I'll see you in a bit. You want to get off of demo as quick as possible, even if it's just small amounts of money, because you want to get the real emotions involved in it. One thing I spoke about in the webinar, if you've not seen it already, these longer term trades that are coming up, you want to get used to dealing with them. So what I'd done, when I used to see these longer term trades, I'd be like, yep, I'm doing it, this is like 5 years ago, I'm getting involved, I can see it play out. Any little 4% pullback, I'd be like, no, I'm aggressively putting it, so I'd never be in a longer term trade. So then what I had to start doing is I had to start taking a very small position on the same trade, even if it was like £10 of risk. So I would still manage the normal trade the same way, but I'd leave that one on that's like, it's worth nothing, you know, it might be up £12 and it's moved like 40%. But that trained my mind to actually see the position play out. So you have to build the habit and the formation of seeing it happen, even on very small amounts of money. So don't worry about the size of the amount that you make straight away. Just put it on and see it happen. Do you see what I mean? And then once you've got the experience of that trade playing out, then you're more confident to deal with it on a slightly larger amount of money, slightly larger. And if you're looking to take on any capital this year?
See how it goes.
Yeah, I'm scouting basically. So we're really close to getting the funding sorted. So we're really excited about that. So essentially, once you've got 6 to 12 months of consistency, and potentially a little bit less, but there's a few little things that we're ironing out, we're able to give people money to trade with and build that account that way. So it gives people an opportunity that no one else really has, and I never had as well, because I was the same. After I invested in my first education, I had about a small amount of money, like £1,000 or something like that, built it up to about 2K, but really and truly, when your mind's thinking about turning that 2K into 100, it's in the wrong place. But if you can just not worry about that. Imagine saying this, 6 to 12 months, just focus on learning, get good, become the asset, get the skill set, 100K at the end of it waiting for you. How would your mindset be to learning then? Would you be doing your ASR? Would you be doing your forecasting? You probably would. You'd be showing up thinking, because once I'm on 6 figures, it then becomes very sustainable, can quit my job, cover my outgoings, etc. So that, if I was starting today, I wish I had something like that. So we're very close. So that's why I mention it, because investment's not for everybody, and you don't feel pressure to do anything like that, but it can definitely speed up the process. Firstly, I really appreciate you all coming here. First, hands up, who's coming for the first time, first meetup? Wicked. So the start of a new decade, which feels like there's a lot of weight towards that, which is really, really good. And I think it's important that we start off in the right way. So wicked to have you all here. Who's come from Scotland? Someone's come. Night bus. Took the night bus. Some serious commitment. Love that. Portugal as well. Where's Andre? He's somewhere over there. Somewhere in the back. Yeah. So yeah, there he is. So it just goes to show, you know, the commitment that everybody has to come to these things is crazy to see it. And I know quite a few of you today as well was wondering, oh, should I come? I'm a little bit nervous. I'm not sure if I should just keep low key. So good to see everybody getting out of their comfort zones to do that. So we thought we'd do a bit of a Q&A as well, as it is the start of the year. It feels crazy. The Christmas period has gone so quick. Who got to relax and enjoy? Happy New Year. Is it too late to say Happy New Year to everyone there? Happy New Year anyway. But no, I hope everyone had a good year with the family and things, and we're now focused because it's going to be a very, very exciting year. And this is a topic that myself, Neil and Jake were talking about. Some people start to panic if the first couple of weeks doesn't, you know, take off, but it's important that we still are patient. Even though it's going to be an incredible year, we still have to be focused. So it'll be good to hear about people's goals. I know some people will be a little bit shy to share it, but should we pick on some people?
Oh, why don't we open up to you guys?
Yeah.
Does anyone have a goal that they want to share, that they've set themselves for 2020 or for Q1?
Yeah.
To become full-time.
Yes. By the end of what do you want?
Q4 maybe.
Good man.
Yeah, nice.
What have you got in place to achieve that goal?
Probably like personal challenges really at the beginning, because there's a lot of bad habits I need to unlearn, because I'm quite new to Falcon. I joined last year October.
Nice.
So I'm trying to learn the Falcon way. So
Decent.
Because I was having a few conversations with people today, and a lot of their goals are to be a full-time trader, and the chunking down the 90-day plan we're talking about, it makes such a big difference, because going full-time could seem like a really big goal, but if you chunk it down saying, I want to be at this capital by mid-year, this capital by end of Q1, it lessens the kind of severity of that goal. So.
Definitely.
Anyone else?
Yeah.
One of my main goals is, so one of my main top 3 big goals is to be content with the process, and just trust that, you know, people focus primarily on the processes and just go over. So.
Nice.
We were talking a lot about this earlier, weren't we?
Yeah.
And it's, you have this big, almost scary end goal, but then when you reverse engineer the process and you break it down into, right, what am I going to do every single day? And we talked about our morning routines and the evening routines. It's actually not scary at all, and it's actually incredibly achievable. But yeah, it's all about, like Jake was saying, chunking it down.
It's interesting, I was speaking to a couple of people as well, they've been members for quite a while, and this is their first meetup. So it's like, what's happened? You've been a member maybe a year, 2 years, and it's like, okay, well now's the time to take things seriously. And I wouldn't like leave this room if that is you without an accountability partner, because again, it's so important, because otherwise it's so easy to go back to your default setting saying, I'm just going to put it off for a while. But if you have somebody checking in at least with a monthly basis to kind of make sure you keep on track, so that's going to be the difference between you breaking through or not.
It's like me and my mate might have something like new this year for like accountability for getting up early in the morning. So
Nice.
Monday to Friday, basically what we're going to do is we're going to aim to get off at around 6 o'clock in the morning. So we're going to message each other around 10 past 6. And if there's a morning where he doesn't message me by 10 past 6, he owes me £4 for that day.
Nice.
I don't want to be giving him money.
And you've got to take a lot of faith in your processes, because I'll give you an example. Michael Bamber is just setting up his camera at the back there. I'm going to pick on him now. A prime example of someone that I've noticed that stuck to the right processes for a long period of time, doing the exact same thing that he needs to do, but yet the results weren't there for what he wanted. But what changed to get the consistency? Now is it Bamber? Is it 7th month or 6th month of consistency? 6th. So it just goes to show you what changes is the same process that he was following in the first place. But imagine if you're in a place where you're not getting the results yet, but you know you're doing the right things, and your mind's saying, what's happening? Why am I not getting the results? Sometimes there's not one little thing that you can do that's going to help that, but you need to do the same thing and trust in the process. So I'm seeing more and more people break through. Big congratulations to Bamber as well, actually, because honestly, he's smashed it. But the good thing is, just very quickly, is that with trading, you're not judged. It's like level playing field. You're not judged by your height, your age, skin color, this, that, race, country. You're not judged by anything. It's really the individual that's going to put in the work. So that should be the most comforting feeling, that it's just level playing field. Doesn't matter who you are, what you look like. As long as you do the right things, you get the results. And that's the great thing about it.
Any discretion is just, it allows your personality to come out.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
it was really rigid and you have to fit in this box,
Exactly.
it's actually you get the style, you get almost like this template to work with, and
Exactly.
then your personality. Because I found at the beginning, like we've spoken of before, I was forcing trades that were in the style but weren't in line with the way I like to
Exactly,
trade.
yeah.
As soon as I kind of found that out and adjusted my plan, it was like,
Breath of fresh
that's
air.
the moment. Yeah.
Because discretion is a very, very small part of your game, but it's in areas like, say for example, there's a larger flag, you're taking a third touch on a risk entry, you're taking that trade, someone might wait for the perfect high test, where someone might just see the corrective candles is enough for them. So isn't that a little bit of discretion? That's just a criteria that someone else wants to apply. So there's no perfect candle. That's what I love about structure, because structure is there. I absolutely love
Exactly,
it, yeah.
Once you get it, you can't unsee it.
Yeah, and structure's been there for like 30 years or more, and like data that we haven't even got access to. So it's like the markets have always done that.
In like 10 years, we'll be looking back at these times and be like, look at those structures and how they've developed now into...
Well, the thing is, someone asked me before about will it get to a point where more people trade this way, and then it skews the odds in the other favour?
Yeah,
I was thinking, yeah, there's like
if AI gets involved.
yeah, and all these kind of things. I mean, AI's been around for years; it's not changed anything. There's always these new like kind of phases and buzz. For people to actually integrate that and for it to consistently work for a long period of time, for the market to change, that could be like 40 years away.
Yeah.
It's such a long. But when you see it in the news, like AI, you're like, crap, I need to get on that. There's robots are going to take over the forex space.
But style has evolved anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So the things happen so slowly that you pick up on these things, you see them a bit more often, and then suddenly your style evolves.
You adapt,
slightly.
yeah.
So I mean, I'm not worried about that
No,
at all.
and the way we trade and the way we do our processes, we pick up on those changes far quicker than, let's say, 6 months of results of, oh, what's going on here? Now let's figure it out. We've kind of figured it out as it's happening, which is really, really interesting.
It used to be the opposite for me. If I could figure it out,
It was the
and then
same
I'd
for me,
start trading
yeah.
that way, and then it would already have...
The conditions have already changed. Where now we're already primed for impulsive conditions,
Yeah.
which is really, really interesting.
Exciting.
Have you taken many trades this month?
I've only taken one so far.
Yeah, I've taken
NU.
2 so far,
I took
yeah.
NU, which I think you took the same.
Yeah, New Zealand dollar and Aussie dollar, so 2 trades for me so far.
Oh yeah, so that was a go-to sell for me, I think. And
Yeah.
also, there was a CAD yen trade at the beginning of the month,
Oh, yeah.
which I missed. So.
Yeah. I missed a couple. I missed euro dollar and dollar CAD, but euro dollar would have
that
been
recently
like
dollar CAD?
Yeah, the recent dollar CAD
Yeah,
one.
see, I didn't see it.
Yeah,
I saw it, Neil was
yeah.
CAD, right?
It was a bit of a a filter trade on the fifth.
Yeah.
It's the first flag, and if you remember, because I can visualize the price action, there's a correction and there was the high, and it was the same thing. Is the correction below the low or above it? And in this situation, it was above it, and it was a bit of a messier correction. But where it's the first flag, I can apply that level of light. It's not got to be perfect. That's why Neil took it.
That was like experience level of description.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I was looking at it, I was actually looking for a particular...
I was like 15 minutes too late to it, so it was one of those things. You're not going to catch every trade, but this year alone is going to be pretty insane.
already.
EuroCAD and Aussie Kiwi.
EuroCAD,
The longer term plays are going to be
I love EuroCAD as well. The structures play off so well on EuroCAD. So.
long term plays on these. Aussie Kiwi will be a much longer one as well. I think Aussie Kiwi is going to surprise people because it's been squeezed. I don't know if I showed everybody the example of a pound CAD. Do you remember pound CAD's big squeeze?
Yeah.
It was like it's almost like 2 years of data and it just pops. Aussie Kiwi is doing exactly the same thing and it's going to rocket. It's in like a massive weekly expanding pan. So once
it'll take a while to go.
Yeah,
And next
but
week they look and it's like halfway
exactly,
up the pattern.
because when they actually break out of the squeeze, they get to where they need to be very fast. The same way EuroCAD, when it actually breaks, because it's still contained in the channel, once it takes off, it gets there very fast. Dollar CAD, once we get the big sell, it will happen fast. And that's where people are looking at, this is why your mind has to be ready for the different conditions. Let's say the market's been slightly slower, a bit corrective. Your mind goes, 2 flags in, third flag is normally a larger flag. So you see the third flag as a normal type flag and your mind goes, not too sure. I'm going to wait for it to develop into a larger flag.
Yeah.
And it just keeps going and going and
Aussie
going.
dollar is like,
Yes,
honestly,
do you see what I mean?
trickle for ages,
And I can see that shift in the market happening. I can only know that from experience. If I started trading 2 years ago, I wouldn't know that. It's because luckily I started in 2008, where all of the big crashes and things happened. I've seen it all, like flash crashes, depegging, you name it. I'm not scared of anything anymore.
2019 was a good year to learn though.
Definitely.
Because
Yeah.
some of the conditions maybe not too favourable, but you learn how to trade in those conditions. conditions. So when the impulsive phase comes along,
You're ready.
you're ready, and you're like, wow.
Yeah, there's so many people that gave up, that were so close to consistency, or actually getting consistency, but not getting the figure they decided in their head. So in their head, they see people in the community banking 10+%. Because they're only hitting 5, they're like, something's wrong. And they give up. Like, you're already consistent.
But in that case, I should have given up in April.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
When you push through it, those are always the times you look back and you go, those are when all those key lessons.
Right, guys and girls, so we are at the end of the day at the meetup. What an incredible day it was today. How good was it today, by the way?
Yeah, really good.
So good. So our biggest meetup to date, start of a new decade, and I think it's really, really important that you start things like this with as much momentum as possible. Now, throughout the day, speaking to people, it's incredible to hear people's stories, and we started talking a lot about psychology throughout the day, especially in the Q&A, and one thing that we touched on a lot is feeling consistent. And I thought right at the end of the day, before Bamba shoots off as well, just to go into a little bit of what that feels like as he's someone that's more fresh, that's come out of that from doing what he needs to do to get to where he needs to be, but not having the results, and now breaking through to the results. And what is it like to feel consistent? So that's a question I ask you a lot. Now, how long has it been? Has it been 6 or 7 months?
6 months.
6 months. So 6 months of consistency. And does it feel any different to what you was doing from before?
Not really. Like we've always talked about, like the
Yeah.
processes are exactly the same. Yes, I've evolved them all the time. Yes, there's optimization included. Yes, I've refined them over and over again. But in terms of the process, in terms of forecasting ASR, like they're all the same. I've just been consistent with that and just evolved them all the time. So.
And with the setups, because there's got to be something that changes, like a small change.
Yeah, for sure.
Is it, for example, things that maybe you would have hesitated on before, and now you've got more clarity and confidence that the process of doing your forecasting in so much detail that you're now just executing on those trades that maybe you wasn't before?
Yeah, exactly. I think one important point to touch on as well is that I think you get to a point within your trading where you take enough pain where you figure out a process to put things in place to then capitalize on those trades.
Yeah.
So I was at a point where, I was missing out on all these trades. I wasn't getting frustrated, but I could feel that creep into the emotions.
Yeah.
And you just have to sit with yourself, look yourself in the mirror and be like, what process can I put in place to figure out how to capitalize on these trades? So even things like, how can I optimize my forecasting more? How can I get more accurate? How can I put a specific process in place so that I'm ready for each and every trade? And that's what I've done. So just refine that over and over
Because
again.
there's definitely a difference. So when we spoke in Amsterdam, there's a huge difference. I've spoken to you in detail of this. There is a massive difference. So guys and girls, for a bit of context there. So in Amsterdam, that was our first European meetup. And I had a conversation with Bamba about how he's feeling, where he's going, making little tweaks. And I've noticed this with a lot of people that break through to consistency. Something changes in their confidence and clarity of the way they carry themselves and just the way they are on the charts, and then the results follow. And isn't it interesting how having a conversation there about self-worth, I remember that was an important conversation, you've now practiced a lot of that self-worth. And what a coincidence, not only are you consistent, because you don't get 6 months of results by fluke. You don't. And it doesn't mean that now, because you had that, it doesn't mean you can't have a down month or you can't have a low month. But those trades and those months that you've had, they're deliberate, which is the word that I use, remember, deliberate. And the reason why is because it's easy to get caught up into a bit of results, and what you feel like is, yeah, but is that going to happen consistently, or is that just a fluke? When you don't do that by accident, you don't accidentally do that, and you're not accidentally doing it. There's a process in place.
Exactly.
You know exactly what types of trades. 2 longer term trades that you're looking at right now on the spot.
Yeah.
What are they?
EuroCAD and possibly Eurodollar.
Nice. What about Aussie Kiwi?
Aussie Kiwi, missed that one out. You got me there.
But that's the thing, right? Because when you feel consistent, and how do you feel about the longer term? Because you've done reasonably well on a few longer term type plays, haven't you?
Yeah.
In the bigger months, you took, was it
August.
Euro-Pound?
Euro-Pound.
Yeah, nice. Yeah,
Yeah,
nice.
I think starting out, there was a bit of my management style from how I manage normally trades.
Yeah.
That crept in a little bit, so I'd be holding the trade for 3-4 weeks, and that would subconsciously slip in. But from managing trades for the longer term, I love it. I feel like that set and forget style is something that I can implement into my trading as well.
Nice.
So in terms of longer term, 100% see myself doing it.
Yeah, no, that's sick. And I mean, this year as well, the ones, Eurodollar, Aussie Kiwi, EuroCAD, Dollar CAD, I mean, that's just 4 alone of key opportunities that we can capitalize on. I don't think people realize how much opportunity there really is going to be for 2020. Now, it doesn't mean a week 1, week 2 that there's got to be all these trades and they're all taking off, but it's prepared the same way, because the market it's unsustainable for the market to move the way it is now in that type of fashion without these heavy impulses to the upside and to the downside. So just knowing that, it's just now the preparation game. And even at the bottom and top of structures, if we have to take a loss here and there, a break even here and there, mathematically the win massively outweighs that anyway. But no, that's good. It's good to see your progression, good to see you feeling consistent as well. And I think that's the most important thing. You've got to feel consistent before you are consistent. And guys and girls, that doesn't mean, by the way, tell yourself you're consistently profitable when you're not and saying, oh, well, I feel consistent. It's more so leading to what I was talking about earlier, asking those good questions. Because if you're saying to yourself, I feel consistent, I'm a consistent profitable trader, what is the mind actually going to do? It's going to ask the question, what would a consistent trader be doing? What processes does he do? What habits does he have? So you see what I mean? You start asking the great questions, and that leads you to getting the better answers. And as a side effect, then the consistency comes. But it all starts with the mindset, and you've been a prime example of now broken through. Because how long was it until you broke through?
So I'll be trading about 2.5 years.
2.5 years.
And then now it's coming up to 3, just past 3.
And it would have been easy for you to give up in those periods.
So many times.
Did you ever feel like giving up, or did you just, was that voice kind of low anyway? You didn't really hear it that much? Or did it creep in here and there?
It definitely crept in. I was never going to give up. Like, it's not within my nature to give up. I've always been brought up to never give up, never give, and that's just the mindset that I hold.
Yeah.
So in terms of trading, like, I was never going to give in, but I can't say that mindset didn't creep in, because it did. I've had those low moments. I've hit rock bottom so many times. It's hard for you guys to even know that, but you have to go through that, because it just molds your character, and it just builds your character. You develop into a person, and practicing self-development alongside trading, you just become an entirely different person and evolve over time. So it's so powerful, and you have to go through it. So
no, it's sick. Really sick to see that happen. So big goals for the rest of the year.
Huge goals.
Yeah, lots of
Huge
accountability.
Goals.
You know, I know a lot of your personal goals, and it's going to be sick to see that come into fruition. And I just wanted to share this with you on this channel now, because we've had such an incredible day at the meetup, so many success stories, so many people getting out of their comfort zones at the meetup for the first time, and just to see people just sharing their goals, holding themselves accountable, it's one of the best things. Leverage the people that are around you. But the one thing I want you to take away from speaking to Bamba is that you have to do the right processes, and maybe the results won't come straight away. But if you focus and don't listen to what other people say, because people could be looking at you saying, well, you've been doing this for 2 years, where are your results? Where's this and where's that? The truth is, those are the same people that are doing nothing with their lives. So you've got to focus on you, make sure you're getting done what you need to get done, and eventually, once you break through, you're going to be the one having the last laugh, because you're the one who's got to put the work in, and now you've got the consistency. And becoming the asset, having the skill set, no one can take that away from you. And what I love is that, you've probably heard me say this before, it almost becomes more difficult to fail once you really know what you're doing. Do you get what I mean by that now? Because your style is very, very close to mine, like almost identical. That's just like watching trade recaps ruthlessly, which is good to see that. But it just shows you that once you really know what you're doing, you can just replicate it over and over, and at scale as well. So I'm keen to see how you scale up this year and just really take it to the next level.
It's going to push me out of comfort zone massively, but I'm ready.
Yeah,
I'm ready.
Good man. Well, guys and girls, really hope you enjoyed this episode. Again, just another behind the scenes. And I think you've seen from watching countless meetups, the energy in the room of just how committed people are. People coming from Scotland, getting the night bus. It's not a joke. These people are committed. What's your excuse? Get around the right people. Dublin, Singapore. This is just a local meetup. So it just goes to show you, we've started the decade off in the best possible way, and it's been a pleasure for you to see this episode. And let us know your number one takeaway from today's meetup. We would absolutely love to know, and we look forward to bringing more of these concepts and more of these meetups to the table. There's going to be so many throughout the year. Guys and girls, let's kick on with 2020. Hope you have an incredible weekend. I'll speak to you all soon.